Okay, YouTubers and space detectives. Now today I've got a bunch of things to show you, and one or two of them I have shown before, but there's a new find here which is really cool, and I'm quite pleased with it because it's very similar to one or two things that have been found before in Gale Crater, not in Jezero Crater. But I'm sure we'll find more things like this in Jezero Crater as time goes by. We'll find a lot more things on some of these ridges, on the ground, in the sand. And there are lots of fragments, architectural fragments, and also statue fragments, and specimens as well, remains. And I'm hoping at some point we'll find some more structures, and that we'll see some more close-ups of the background where some of these structures are. But also I'm hoping we might find some more technical or techno-fossils, I would call them. Things like machinery and technical items like vehicles perhaps. We might find more of those, hopefully, or wreckage. Not just things like architectural or statue fragments. Okay, but the first thing I want to show you is this. Now this is a really cool image, this one. I was really pleased with this. Now this is from a different camera. Now mostly I've been showing so far mass cam images like we have here. Now this is made up of multiple images. This is my 360 view of Jezero Crater. This is Sol 4. And this is one of my most important images of recent months. This gives you orientation and shows you each part of the crater from the landing zone. And I've marked them north, west, south and east and everything as well, so you can work out which way you're looking. And the first thing we're going to be looking at is this here. Now we're looking roughly north here, just here on this ridge. Now in this image, we're quite a long way back from it. And you can't see a great deal of detail on here, even when you use the magnifier. It's a bit too far away, and there's nothing of consequence in that image at all because it's too far away. Everything's too small. But I was going through all the latest images, well, recent images from the Percy rover, and they took some close-ups of that ridge that I just showed you using the SuperCam. So this is Percy Sol 26 SC. SC stands for SuperCam, and it's similar to the ChemCam that's on the Curiosity rover. It basically takes these round images, and they're quite good. They're only good because it zooms in a hell of a long way, and that's what they've done here. They've zoomed right into this ridge, and I spotted this almost straight away. We have a figurine just here. I'll just enlarge that for you. There's the head. And this is a kind of coffin-shaped figure or carving. It may even be moulded out of clay rather than carved out of stone. It could be a figurine that's moulded and then fired to go hard. And we have this rather strange dude here. You can just about make out a nose there, there's an eye, there's an ear. This hasn't been enhanced very much. There's the raw version up here. Now in the raw version you can barely see it because it's very pasty and a bit overexposed just here, but you can make out some of those details. That eye there, there's a nose sticking out. You can just about make out that ear and the head coming round, and you can see the shape of it. I'll show you a close-up of that. Now this has been enhanced a little bit more than that I've just showed you. I've actually pushed the contrast a bit more, and I've sharpened it a little bit as well to bring out those details, and they are there. And they may look very pale and difficult to make out, but those features are in the image. You've just got to push the contrast. Okay, and this is what you get. You get a figurine, which I estimate to be about 1 foot long, maybe. It could be a bit less, could be a bit more, I don't know. Right, so let's look at the details up close. Now basically, you can see the head pretty clearly coming round. That's the head. And you can actually see, you can just about make out an eye here, and another one here, and a very vague nose, and a mouth, and what looks like an ear sticking out there, and the chin coming round, and the face coming round like that. It's not very detailed. It's also probably quite badly eroded, I would imagine, like everything else in the area. A lot of these objects are very pitted and eroded, and I'm going to show you something else in a minute which is similar in that respect. But there's something on, we got this kind of part coming down like this. There's the base of it, it comes to here, here's the foot of the sort of coffin-shaped object here, like a box. But there's something on the front here, and I can't make out what it is. But there's some detail here of an object or something on top, in the middle there. You can see that quite clearly in the raw image as well. There's an object on the front of it there. So, interesting stuff. And it's a shame that we didn't get a closer picture of it really, but it's just within visual range when the camera zooms right in, just enough for us to see that it's a figurine, okay? There it is. And I was quite pleased with that. Let's go back to the Gigapan. You've got it here, and actually you can see it quite well in the image just using the magnifier. You can just about make out a mouth there, and nostrils, and a nose coming up, and there's the eye, and there's an ear sticking out there. And you can see that sort of weird shape on the front there. What is that? What is that, I wonder? There's got details on the side of it there. Now, of course, this is quite a long way away. This is probably hundreds and hundreds of feet away. You can actually work it out probably from here. It's a long way off. A quarter of a mile away, half a mile away, something like that. But obviously what's happened is using the super cam, it's zoomed right in, and that's what we've got here. And there are one or two other things on here as well, but nothing much. That was weird, that thing there. I don't know what it is, just looks weird. But most of this is just rubble and the stuff that's come down off the edge of this ridge. I actually think this ridge line is not just a hill. I actually think this is a structure, because we have these parallel parts in here coming along, and it's all very, very eroded, but very similar to some of the structures I've shown in Jezero Crater, where the sand's piled up against it and the structure's totally collapsed and eroded down, and it's all kind of covered in sand and rubble. So there's probably burials in this structure here, and tombs. And what I think they were doing is they had multiple chambers in some of these structures where they would place people's skulls and remains, and often they would have burial figurines or ornaments buried with them, like a crypt, okay, with multiple chambers. So is this a sarcophagus, or is it a figurine? That's the question. Could be either. Now, there was also this thing. Now, this is something I showed a couple of weeks ago, and we've had a close-up of it. Here it is. It's a thing I called a hand, right? For obvious reasons. Latest, Mars Lives Matter spotted this in an early image set, Sol 48, on April 9th. Still looks like a statue hand with fingers in this close view from Sol 54. And I've got a link there to the video. Basically, I showed this before in a previous video. I've got the previous video up here. This is Mars Perseverance latest images, new finds. This was April the 10th. I posted this video. And there it is. And I showed it in here and outlined it before. So this was seen from quite a long way away, initially by me, like a lot of these things were earlier on. And now we're seeing close-ups of them as the rover moves around and also zooms the camera into different areas on the ground. Okay, here it is, and it still looks like a hand with the thumb missing, it seems. This may turn out just to be a natural rock, but I don't think it is, because I've already shown that there are statue fragments and multiple other items on the ground in this area. So at least has to be looked at and considered as a possible artifact, rather than just a rock, okay? Because other things have been found in the area, multiple things by me and other people, and lots of other people have spotted this and posted it as well, so kudos to them as well. But I did show it a while ago in this video, and here it is on the Gigapan that I showed in the video. This is Sol 48, Percy Sol 48, mass left. There it is. And you can see that quite clearly. It looks like a hand on the end of this thing here, and we got a close-up of it today. So, and the weird thing is, I've also been keeping an eye on various people from NASA and scientists who do work for NASA, like Professor Paul Byrne here, and he's done this rather flippant image of it, although quite funny, and he stuck his eyes on these rocks. Now, that may seem a bit crass, okay, but bear in mind that the people that work for NASA and a lot of the people associated with NASA aren't allowed to speak freely about Mars, okay? So this, to me, initially made me a bit annoyed, and then I laughed at it. And then I realised actually what he may be doing is actually signalling to look at these things a bit more closely, okay, on the ground. Rather than saying, oh, I want you civilian researchers out there and anomaly researchers to look at these things a bit more closely. What he's done is a humorous kind of clip here, drawing attention to it. Now, he may just be taking the mick here, but I don't think he is. I've been following a lot of these people from NASA and various scientific groups and astronomers for quite some time, and I've had dealings with some of them before in the past. They've come onto my channel, as I've said before, and they've even emailed me with stuff as well. And they're not allowed to speak about certain things in public, about Mars. They're not allowed to give the game away, okay? And sometimes they give you sort of signals or messages using symbology or humour, okay? And this is symbology or symbolic. In other words, it's a message. It could be construed as a message, by me anyway, to say, look a bit closer at some of this stuff. There's something going on here, okay? Here's a close-up of it. Here's the raw clip, and here's the enhanced clip. And you can still see it looks like a hand. You've got fingers here. It's eroded, of course. There seems to be another finger on the end there from this view. So we've got knuckles. Well, they're like knuckles here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. And the hand coming around here. And incidentally, there's a wrist, there's a crease here, right? You can see that crease? Now, if you put your hand in that position and then put your fingers kind of pointing down like that and twist your wrist a little bit or your hand, you'll get a crease mark just here, just like that. So I think this is a hand. Now, I was a bit sceptical before, but when I saw that crease mark, I thought that is the sort of crease you get when you put your hand in that position. Now, there would have been a thumb on here, possibly sticking up, like that. Right? Let's do that again. That's not very good. The thumb part is there. So this could be a thumb already. Just there, because you've got this, if you look at your thumb on your hand, you've got this kind of really chubby part, the muscle here, the thumb muscle, which is just there, right? That's what it looks like. The thumb may have actually stuck out a bit like this, but it's kind of broken off. It may have come like that. Okay. And that finger there, if you look at this finger here, it seems to actually come around like that. Do you see what I mean? So I think this is a statue part, but the thumb's kind of either broken off slightly here or eroded away. And we have that crease mark, which is exactly what you get when you put your hand in that sort of position. So bear in mind that a lot of the people on Mars weren't human. A lot of them were, but a lot of them were other types as well. So their hands and fingers may be slightly different to ours and have different morphology. In other words, some have only got 3 fingers, some have got 4 fingers and a thumb, and some may have 6 fingers, or 5 fingers and a thumb. So you have to bear that in mind, okay? We're not necessarily dealing with statues done by humans of humans, although most of them are. Not all of them are. Some are reptoids or animals, and some are kind of look a bit like alien greys and that kind of thing as well. Some of the statues I've shown, I'll put a few clips of them in at the end of the video. So there we are. You can actually see that looks like there was a thumb there, just here. Okay, and you've got the fingers coming around like that. So that to me looks like a part of a statue. Now why it's joined like this to this bit here, I don't know. But some of this may be clay from the lake bed that's stuck to it and then solidified in this part here. Because obviously if this was an arm, it probably wouldn't have that part there. It would probably just be this bit. And then joined to a body and the rest of the arm and everything else. So this part here may be part of a structure that it was attached to, or it may be solidified clay that's stuck to this in the lake here and then dried out and solidified into a kind of hardened rock. We should not expect everything we see on Mars, especially the artwork, to conform to our rather limited view on these things from Earth, because obviously they would have had different styles, and they also may be depicting different types of people, different types of humans or humanoids with different features, and we shouldn't expect to understand everything. A lot of these things are quite avant-garde, a bit like modern art on Earth. Some of it I've shown looks quite Picasso-esque, I would say, and a bit kind of abstract, you could say. So some of it does look quite abstract, right? So bear that in mind. But yes, it does look like there was a thumb here, and it does look like it's kind of broken or eroded off. Okay, so there we are. Going back to this, going back to the burial figurine or sarcophagi here, I did do a video years ago showing us a very similar thing. Now, this was found by Will Farrar, I think, from What's Up in the Sky 37 channel. This was years ago, going back to 2014, okay? So this is a long time ago. And a very similar thing was found on the ridge or on a mound in Jezero Crater back at Sol 727. And here it is, just here. Let that play through a bit. It doesn't get very clear until it's enhanced, but this is another similar figurine holding a shield, it seems. Just there, you can see that a shield or something there, and a hand, and another arm or hand coming over it here. These are the feet at the bottom, and this is the head here, heavily eroded and pitted, like many of these things are. A lot of these objects are very eroded. I could probably do a better job of this enhancement now. What I would do is blur it a bit more and get rid of the distortion. This is quite a low-res, distorted image, and it's quite hard to work with some of these images when they're so poor. But basically that's what we have. We have what looks like a shield in the middle. We've got the legs here at the bottom and the feet here at the bottom, and this is the head here. But very eroded and hard to make out the detail. It's probably millions of years old. So there we are. So lots of similar things have been found, and I've shown loads of things like this on my channel in the last 8 or 9 years now. So there's no real argument as to whether these exist on Mars. It's just whether this one is or whether that one is. That's the point. This reminded me of something that was spotted in Jezero Crater, which I've got here. And this is Sol 1463. And we have a rover selfie here. We have another one of these mysterious buttes, which I think are actual structures, a lot of them. And this is another one. And just down here, we have another fist or hand type, what seems to be a sculpture here, sticking up, just there. Now this looks more like a fist rather than a hand. It's in a sort of fist shape. But it may not be. This may actually represent something else, don't know. But from this angle it looks very similar, with a kind of thumb there and knuckles there. But this actually may be a head of a statue of some kind of weird serpent figurine or something, who knows. But there's loads of weird stuff in this one. This is well worth a look. So there'll be links to all these Gigapans in the description below, as usual. This is well worth looking at, actually, this one. We've got some interesting stuff in here, and loads of weird debris, and someone's marked something there. Let's have a look at that. Now, often people come along and mark these things, and I check them out after, which is cool. Yeah, that looks weird. I mean, that could be an eroded statue head there. The problem is, some of these things are so eroded and broken that you really can't recognise them. And when you take into account that a lot of these things were probably depicting people or things that we don't know about and are unfamiliar with, then it makes it doubly hard to recognise some of these things or work out what they are exactly. But there's some really weird stuff in here, well worth a look. And the same with this. There's probably other things in here I haven't spotted on this one, on Sol 26. There's loads of weird things by these ridge lines, and I always search ridge lines like this because often statues are at the bottom or near the bottom, and occasionally we get them on top as well. We get gargoyles as well, and a lot of these are actually structures and had multiple burials in them and around them and under them, and sometimes we get to see multiple ones together. The hand, or the arm with a hand. I'm calling this Mars Lives Matter for obvious reasons. And then we have the figurine or sarcophagus, whatever it is. Burial figurine, I think. I don't think it's big enough to be a sarcophagus, but who knows? Some of the Martians were quite small. Some of them were less than 2 feet tall. Okay, so there we are. So it could be, and like I said, I don't really know how long this is. It's kind of sloping back on this ridge line, on this butte thing here, and it's very deceptive. So I would have thought if we saw it from the side, it'd be much longer, but we're kind of seeing it almost upright, leaning back. So it's very hard to say how big this thing is. It could be 2 or 3 feet long. A couple of new finds there. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please give the thumbs up, it really helps. Basically my videos literally get ignored after a couple of days if they don't get more than about 400 thumbs up, okay? They just literally don't get pushed by YouTube unless they get over a certain amount, or 300 or 400, okay? So please give a thumbs up, it really helps. And if you can't comment, just leave a thumbs up emoji or something. That really helps as well, because basically a lot of people say they don't get notifications or my videos don't come up. If you don't interact with the channel, then you won't get notifications properly. You need to interact a little bit, even if it's just a thumbs up here and there, or a thumbs up emoji, and then the algorithm recognizes you interacting, and then you will get more of my stuff in your feed, okay? So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.